Hi everybody, and welcome to today's reading lesson for Friday, May 15th and Monday, May 18th. You'll be doing this skill for 2 days, reading your fantasy book and working on the skill from previous sessions as well as the one for today. So our goal today is to keep track of the multiple problems that the characters face on their quest throughout the book. As you read more complex texts, make sure to keep track of the multiple problems that your characters face. There just will not be one problem that they face anymore on their quest. There's going to be multiple problems, multiple ways to solve the problems. Some will be solved and others will not. You also have to pay attention how those problems affect the characters. Do they make the characters act out in anger? Do they make them sad? Do they make them more determined to finish their quest or to give it up? And how does the problems and the characters' reactions, how do they affect the theme of the story? So today we're going to be reading Chapter 4 of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And we're still going to be looking at description of setting, which characters have power. We're going to be looking at learning alongside with our characters, information that we don't know, and neither do the characters, and we're going to find that out at the same time the characters do. We're also going to be starting to look at any problems that our characters are facing. So Chapter 4, Turkish Delight. "But what are you?" said the Queen again. "Are you a great overgrown dwarf that has cut off its beard?" "No, Your Majesty," said Edmund. "I never had a beard. I'm a boy." "A boy," said she. "Do you mean you are a son of Adam?" Edmund stood still saying nothing. He was too confused by this time to understand what the question meant. "I see you are an idiot, whatever else you may be," said the Queen. "Answer me once and for all, or I shall lose my patience. Are you human?" "Yes, Your Majesty," said Edmund. "And how, pray, did you come to enter my dominions?" "Please, Your Majesty, I came in through a wardrobe." "A wardrobe? What do you mean?" I opened a door and just found myself here, Your Majesty," said Edmund. "Ha!" said the Queen, speaking more to herself than him. A door from the world of men. I have heard of such things. This may wreck all. But he is only one, and he is easily dealt with." As she spoke these words, she rose from her seat and looked Edmund full in the face, her eyes flaming. At the same moment she raised her wand. Edmund felt sure that she was going to do something dreadful, but he seemed unable to move. Then, just as he gave himself up for lost, she appeared to change her mind. "My poor child," she said in quite a different voice, "how cold you look. Come and sit with me here on the sledge, and I will put my mantle round you and we will talk." I'm just going to pause right here because at this point, both Edmund and me as the reader have really no understanding of what's going to happen next. And we don't really understand why the witch was so concerned about us or him being a boy, nor do we understand why she all of a sudden changed her mind. So we're going to learn the answers to our questions, most likely the same time Edmund will. Edmund did not like this arrangement at all, but he dared not disobey. He stepped onto the sledge and sat at her feet, and she put a fold of her fur mantle round him and tucked it in well. "Perhaps something hot to drink," said the Queen. "Should you like that?" "Yes, please, Your Majesty," said Edmund, whose teeth were chattering. The Queen took from somewhere among her wrappings a very small bottle, which looked as if it were made of copper. Then, holding out her arm, she let one drop fall from it onto the snow beside the sledge. Edmund saw the drop for a second in midair, shining like a diamond. But the moment it touched the snow, there was a hissing sound, and there stood a jeweled cup full of something that steamed. The dwarf immediately took this and handed it to Edmund with a bow and a smile. Not a very nice smile. Edmund felt much better as he began to sip the hot drink. It was something he had never tasted before, very sweet and foamy and creamy, and it warmed him right down to his toes. So again, I'm going to stop and pause here. Just as Edmund learned, we are learning that the White Witch has some sort of power because she was able to take this small bottle and a drop of it, when it hit the snow, turned into something foamy and creamy and a warm drink. "It is dull, son of Adam, to drink without eating," said the queen presently. "What would you like best to eat?" "Turkish delight, please, your majesty," said Edmund. The queen let another drop fall from her bottle onto the snow, and instantly there appeared a round box, tied with green silk ribbon, which, when opened, turned out to contain several pounds of the best Turkish delight. Each piece was sweet and light to the very center, and Edmund had never tasted anything more delicious. He was quite warm now, and very comfortable. While he was eating, the queen kept asking him questions. At first Edmund tried to remember that it is rude to speak with one's mouth full, but soon he forgot about this and thought only of trying to shovel down as much Turkish delight as he could. And the more he ate, the more he wanted to eat, and he never asked himself why the queen should be so inquisitive. She got him to tell her that he had one brother and two sisters, and that one of his sisters had already been in Narnia and had met a faun there, and that no one except himself and his brother and his sisters knew anything about Narnia. She seemed especially interested in the fact that there were 4 of them, and kept on coming back to it. You are sure there are just 4 of you?" she asked. "2 sons of Adam and 2 daughters of Eve, neither more nor less." And Edmund, with his mouth full of Turkish delight, kept on saying, "Yes, I told you that before," and forgetting to call her Your Majesty, but she didn't seem to mind now. So I'm going to pause right here, and not only are we learning alongside of Edmund, we're now learning also alongside of the White Witch. She's learning about these 4 children that we can question might have something to do with the plot of the story. She seems to be very interested about the plot of the story, and she keeps asking him, so we're learning alongside of the White Witch. "Son of Adam, I should so much like to see your brother and your 2 sisters. Will you bring them to see me?" "I'll try," said Edmund, still looking at the empty box. "Because if you did come again, bringing them with you, of course, I'd be able to give you some more Turkish delight. I can't do it now. The magic will only work once. In my house, it would be another matter." "Why can't we go to your house now?" said Edmund. When he had first got onto the sled, she had been afraid that she might drive away with him to some unknown place from which he would not be able to get back. But he had forgotten about that fear now. "It is a lovely place, my house," said the queen. "I'm sure you would like it. There are whole rooms full of Turkish delight, and what's more, I have no children of my own. I want a nice boy whom I could bring up as a prince, and who would be king of Narnia when I am gone. While he was prince, he would wear a gold crown and eat Turkish delight all day long. And you are much the cleverest and handsomest young man I have ever met. I think I would like to make you the prince some day, when you bring the others to visit me." "Why not now?" said Edmund. His face had become very red, and his mouth and fingers were sticky. He did not look either clever or handsome, whatever the queen might say. See, at this point I'm going to pause, because we're learning alongside of Edmund. It seems a little fishy. Why can't I go to your house now? Why do you need me to bring my brothers and sisters to you? So he's learning there might be something fishy going on, while the White Witch is learning that he has these siblings and she needs to meet them. "Oh, but if I took you there now," she said, "I shouldn't see your brother and your sisters. I very much want to know your charming relations. You are to be the prince, and, later on, the king. That is understood. But you must have courtiers and nobles. I will make your brother a duke and your sisters duchesses." "There's nothing special about them," said Edmund. "And anyway, I could always bring them some other time." "Ah, but once you were in my house," said the queen, "you might forget all about them. You would be enjoying yourself so much that you wouldn't want the bother of going to fetch them. You must go back to your own country now and come to me another day with them. You understand? It is no good coming without them." "But I don't even know the way back to my own country," pleaded Edmund. "That's easy," answered the queen. "Do you see that lamp?" She pointed with her wand, and Edmund turned and saw the same lamp post under which Lucy had met the faun. "Straight on, beyond that, is the way to the world of men. And now look the other way." Here she pointed in the opposite direction, "and tell me if you can see 2 little hills rising above the trees." "I think I can," said Edmund. "Well, my house is between those 2 hills, so next time you come you only have to find the lamp post and look for those 2 hills and walk through the wood till you reach my house. But remember, you must bring the others with you. I might have to be very angry with you if you came alone." "I'll do my best," said Edmund. "And by the way," said the queen, "you needn't tell them about me. It would be fun to keep it a secret between us 2, wouldn't it? Make it a surprise for them. Just bring them along to the Two Hills. A clever boy like you will easily think of some excuse for doing that. And when you come to my house, you could just say, 'Let's see who lives here,' or something like that. I am sure that would be best. If your sister has met one of the fawns, she may have heard strange stories about me, nasty stories that might make her afraid to come to me. Fawns will say anything, you know." I'm going to pause right here because we're learning alongside of Edmund that there's that she wants to see these siblings, but she doesn't want him to tell them about her. And we're learning alongside the White Witch that because Lucy met Mr. Tumnus, the fawn, already, that they might be speaking bad about her. I'm thinking right now, just to think about my reading, and I'm questioning that this could be a problem. That Edmund is going to have to bring his siblings to see the witch, but I'm seeing that this could be a little bit of a problem, maybe connected to the theme. The White Witch seems to be like a bad witch. These 4 children seem to be good, so maybe the theme is good versus evil. So I see how this point right here can connect to the theme. "Oh, Edmund," she cried, "so you've got in too. Isn't it wonderful? And now—" "All right," said Edmund. "I see you were right, and it's a magical wardrobe after all. I'll say I'm sorry if you like, but where on earth have you been all this time? I've been looking for you everywhere." "If I'd known you'd got in, I would have waited for you," said Lucy, who was too happy and excited to notice how snappishly Edmund spoke, or how flushed and strange his face was. "I've been having lunch with dear Mr. Tumnus, the fawn, and he's very well, and the White Witch has done nothing to him for letting me go. So he thinks she can't have found out, and perhaps everything is going to be all right after all." "The White Witch?" said Edmund. "Who's she?" "She's a perfectly terrible person," said Lucy. "She calls herself the Queen of Narnia, though she has no right to be queen at all. And the fauns and the dryads and the naiads and the dwarfs and the animals, at least all the good ones, simply hate her. And she can turn people into stone and do all kind of horrible things. And she has made magic so that it's always winter in Narnia. Always winter, but it never gets to be Christmas. And she drives about on a sledge drawn by a reindeer with her wand in her hand and a crown on her head." Edmund was already feeling uncomfortable from having eaten too many sweets, and when he heard that the lady he had made friends with was a dangerous witch, he felt even more uncomfortable. But he still wanted to taste that Turkish delight again, more than he wanted anything else in his life. So I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to go back to my digital notebook, and right here, I see that Edmund learned some other things, and I'm going to put that here. He also learns that the White Witch is looking for him and his siblings. Okay, and if I start over here on my new chart, my keep track of multiple problems, Lucy over here, her problem is that her siblings don't believe her about Narnia. She attempts to solve this problem. She tries to show them. Edmund finds the entrance to Narnia. So that's one way that was solved. We don't know about Susan and Peter. We'll have to see. Edmund's problem when he meets the White Witch, and he needs to bring his siblings to her. Okay. Attempts to solve it, we don't know. We haven't seen any evidence yet, but if I keep reading in chapter 5, I might see some evidence. So today and Monday, I want you to read your fantasy fiction books, and I want you to keep track of some of the problems that you see your characters getting involved in. Remember, they don't have to be huge and life-shattering. Look at Lucy's. Her siblings don't believe her about Narnia. A character, the White Witch, I could put a problem that she has. Okay? The problem that she has right now are those 4 kids. We don't know why, but that seems to be a problem. She seems to be very inquisitive about them and wants them to come and visit her. So right now, I can only put that the White Witch, the 4 kids, are a problem for her. Edmund meets the White Witch, and now his problem is he has to get his siblings to come and meet her. So start to keep track of the multiple problems that your characters face on their quest and write them down on a chart on your digital notebook. Have a good day.